ghouls? It's Haley Adams, and I'm coming to you live from a hurricane. You see what I do for you guys? I film, even though there's a hurricane outside. Everybody in the background is saying, "We never asked you to do that. Put your camera away." Anyway, hi, how's it going? Anyway, like I said, hi, I'm Haley Adams. Thank you so much for being here today. If you are new to this channel and you like all things spooky, horror, Halloween, all that jazz, I suggest you hit the subscribe button down below because that's what I supply you with. And today we're doing kind of a special video because we're not talking about specifically horror. We are talking about things that are spooky, not scary. So if you're kind of a weenie, this is the video for you, and I don't judge. I mean, if you think Hocus Pocus is scary, like, you're precious, I guess. So this idea actually came from one of my online friends, Sabrina, so thank you. I'm going to put her name there if you want to go follow her. I asked over on Instagram, which is where I do a lot of asking about videos, so, you know, if you want to follow me there, make your voice heard, go for it, at its_Haley Adams. I said, hey, what do you guys want to see me do in October? Now, clearly it's not October. However, I hate when I see a list that's like, oh, watch one of these movies every day in October, but I see it on like October 5th, so I've already missed a chunk of the movies I should be watching. That drives me nuts, which is why we're doing this video in August. And August is officially spooky season. You know, July 5th is officially spooky season, but some people have a problem with that. So August 1st is it, so we are going to get into it. These are the movies you can watch if you're just, you know, not into seeing Jason smash a guy against a tree like he's trying to open a piñata. If that's not your thing, but you still want those creepy vibes, keep listening. I'm going to throw some great ones at you. If you want something to watch with your family, I will be letting you know what I think is family friendly and what probably is not. Okay, so let's get into it. So I'm going to be... the gremlins, they're throwing things in the background. I'm going to be consulting my Letterboxd list of spooky, not scary, but I'm also going to be going off the cuff because there are things on here that I would like to add. I'm not going in any particular order. This isn't going to be from best to worst or worst to best. It's just as I think of them. So, first movie up for spooky, not scary, obviously, The Nightmare Before Christmas. Do you think I was not going to list that one? That is like the quintessential watch it on Halloween movie, no matter if you're a weenie or a hardened person who watches Terrifier and then rolls over to fall asleep. So, Nightmare Before Christmas, if you don't know the plot, where have you been? It's this skeleton named Jack, and he's just kind of bored with his life, so he goes seeking something else out, and he discovers Christmas, and chaos ensues, basically. I'm not going to give you the entire plot of all of these movies, but this one definitely is family friendly. I remember watching it as a very small child, and guess what? I was a weenie, so yeah, pop this on for the kids. It's on Disney Plus year-round, and you are good to go. Sticking with the animation theme, my next recommendation is Coraline, which a lot of people think that is a Tim Burton movie. It is not. It's not even like, yeah, it's the stop motion, but the style is so different. That's a big pet peeve I have because people just want to give him credit for all the like stop motion things going on, and he doesn't even deserve credit for Nightmare Before Christmas. Let's be honest, but that is not what we are talking about here. So Coraline is this, you know, let's face it, she's a little bit bratty, but she's a little bit bratty because her parents basically ignore her, and they move to this cool old house, and she finds a little door like that one I have back there. I don't know if you can see it, but I have a Coraline door. It has Rob Zombie and Stevie Nicks on it. The gremlins are speaking to me behind the camera. So she goes through this door, and she finds this new world that's like way more colorful, and there's a talking black cat, and I'm pretty sure it's the same voice as the Shadow Man from Princess and the Frog, so pretty cool. And the parents there pay attention to her, but it's really sinister, and they have buttons for eyes. I won't give too much away. Now, obviously, this movie was made for kids. I think this movie's terrifying. I first watched it as a fully grown adult, and I was sitting there thinking, this is a lot more spine tingling than some of these like gory horror movies I like watching. So yeah, it is child friendly, but your child might have nightmares afterwards. So just keep that in mind. Rolling right along with more animated movies, it's The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Classic Charlie Brown, you know, but kind of focuses on Linus sitting in a pumpkin patch waiting for this Halloween version of Santa Claus. Meanwhile, Snoopy is like in World War II, and Charlie Brown is getting rocks instead of candy because this whole town decided they hate this little boy for no reason. I feel bad for Charlie Brown. Anyway, I love this movie. I can't watch it ever because Apple TV is holding it hostage. Apple TV seems like they own all the peanuts, everything. So you can't even go rent it on Amazon. You can't even buy it on Amazon. So if you have Apple TV, have fun. The rest of us, screw you, Apple TV. Alright, now I'm just going to fire some animated movies off at you. I'm sure you know the plot for these. You know, you got Hotel Transylvania and all of the ensuing sequels. I think there's like 5 of them at this point. You got Corpse Bride, classic. Everybody loves it. One that I think is kind of forgotten is Scary Godmother. So I discovered this for the first time again as a full-grown adult. And it's the worst quality. Like, you can go watch it on YouTube right now. It's like somebody made this on their PC computer in 2001. The animation is terrible, but it's so fun to watch. So basically there's this like little girl and she has to like tag along with her older stepbrother, I think, and he's a dick and his friends are dicks. Oh, I'm making a family friendly video. They're jerks. And they say to this little girl, go in that spook house over there. And she's like 5. And they like go in that house. And it looks like a crack house. But it's actually full of monsters, which is probably, you know, safer than a crack house. And she's like, fine, I'll go in there. And she goes in. And there's monsters. And then she like doesn't come back out because Scary Godmother's in there. And she's like, hey, come to my party. And then all of these monsters show up, and hilarious, a skeleton who's clearly homosexual, he comes out of the closet. And it's like the most obvious in-your-face joke. He's very flamboyant, and there's like a werewolf, and then this vampire family shows up, and let me tell you, they're terrifying. I don't find vampires scary. I find them sexy. I don't find them scary unless it's 30 Days of Night or this movie. I'm going to put a picture of them here if you guys don't know what I'm talking about. I think what makes them so creepy is the fact that they're so tall, but then they're hunched like these. And their eyes, they're just black sockets with little red points. It's horrific. If I saw them as a kid, they would have plagued my nightmares. And they're just like, hello, don't order garlic on the pizza. Like, they're very silly. The lady kind of looks like Nadja from What We Do in the Shadows. But, you know, they have the party. She's friends with a little vampire boy, this little girl whose name I've forgotten. They're friends. And then, meanwhile, I'm just giving you the plot of this entire movie. Meanwhile, her stepbrother and their friends are outside, and they're like, did they kill her in there? Is she dead? Like this 5-year-old child. So let's go check, and then the monsters scare them because they were jerks. So yeah, on YouTube, definitely go watch Scary Godmother. Yes, it is family friendly, except for those very scary looking vampires. Alright, now getting into live action movies, unless I spontaneously remember an animated one I forgot. Obviously, the Gremlins. Obviously, Hocus Pocus. You gotta watch it. You gotta watch it every Halloween. If you don't know the plot, this kid and his sister, they moved to Salem. And he's like, witches aren't real. And I'm gonna go light a candle, and I've never shaboinked. So that's gonna bring these witches back, but not really. But it does. So the Bette Midler's there, and it's a really fun time. It is family friendly. I mean, it's a Disney movie, but also it was made in the 90s. So there are a few things that are probably just going to go whoosh right over a child's head. But yes, show your children. There was a sequel that came out a few years ago. Show them that as well. Classic. You gotta love it. Keeping on the witch theme, practical magic fits very well in the spooky, not scary theme. I'm hesitant to even call it spooky, but it is witches, two sisters, and then the one sister, she gets into trouble with men. Don't we all? And try not to give too much away. There's trouble with a guy. They take care of it. Weird things are going on around there. It's more kind of like a romance movie than anything. I would not call this family friendly. Not that it's like too inappropriate. I think it would bore a child. It's much more of a, get your girlfriends coming over, make some pumpkin spice lattes and throw that on kind of a vibe instead of sit your child down and watch it. Another witch movie to kind of fit the theme is The Love Witch. So this follows Elaine. She is moving in her sexy little car to get away from a very bad relationship. We don't really know what happened there, but she's getting the heck away. And she's a love witch. And she just desperately wants a man to love her. Like, girlfriend, love yourself first. But that's like her whole arc, is she needs men to love her. And then it just never works out. And things go very south. But this movie is a beautiful movie. I love how it's shot. I love that it looks like it's a movie from like the 1960s, but it was made in 2016. Like, the only things that give it away that this isn't an old movie is somebody has a cell phone at one point, and then I think you see like a 2012 Toyota in it. And I don't think the director, who I got beef with because she doesn't like trans people, so like, screw you, what did they ever do to you? I got beef with her. But I like that she didn't specifically want it to look like a period piece or a modern piece. She kind of blended it, so it's like your mind is kind of getting whoo, like at the same time that you see Elaine sort of spiraling into madness. This one is definitely not family friendly because there's a lot of shaboing boing going on. I think a shaboing boing is a hot dog. Somebody let me know if I'm using that term correctly, but there's a lot of that going on. Do not show this to your kids. Don't do it. But it's not scary, so definitely check it out. Alright, I'm going to rapid fire 2 musicals at you now. So obviously, Little Shop of Horrors. It's great. We love it. It's so fun. Rick Moranis? Who doesn't love Rick Moranis? Who doesn't not want to go see Steve Martin at the dentist? God, if he was my dentist, I would not recover from that. I think a normal dentist is mean. And then you got him. No. Plant That Eats People. Great music by Alan Menken. Who doesn't love Alan Menken? Awesome. Watch it. You could show it to your kids. I think a lot of stuff is gonna like whoosh right over their heads. It could be okay to show to them. You might never get them back to the dentist though. So maybe not. Another musical that you definitely should not show your children is Rocky Horror. I mean, it's great. You got Tim Curry being all sexy wearing women's lingerie. Brad and Janet, they show up at this house and like Riff Raff there and he's like, hello. And they're like, what's going on? This is weird. And then there's a party and there's dancing and then everybody does this together and it's weird and it's wonderful and the music is great. Do not show it to your kids, but yeah, check it out for sure. Since I mentioned Rick Moranis, Ghostbusters, clearly you gotta watch Ghostbusters. It's these 5 guys. Is that 4? There's guys busting ghosts. Driving around in this cool hearse. They're, zapping them with a stream, and there's Slimer, he's my favorite, and he's in a hotel, and he's like shoving hot dogs in his mouth, and very funny. And then there's Rick Moranis, and he keeps trying to like hit on Sigourney Weaver, and he's dork, and it's very funny, and he thinks a demon is a puppy. Just Ghostbusters, great movie. There are sequels. You can watch them if you want. I think the first one's the best. I need to do a rewatch of the second one. I remember like nothing about it. And people keep making Ghostbusters movies like now. I have not seen any of them. I haven't heard good things, but let me know if I should check them out or not. Keeping with the theme of movies that are just gonna make you, bust the gut pretty much. Young Frankenstein. One of my absolute favorites. It's a Mel Brooks movie, so it's if you know, it's gonna be Mel Brooks humor. So the grandson of Victor Frankenstein, who does not want to be associated with him, so he goes by Frankenstein because he thinks his grandfather's work was doo-doo. Basically, he ends up having to go back to Transylvania, which is hilarious because Frankenstein, it didn't take place in Transylvania. But he ends up going there and is in, Frankenstein's castle, finds, his grandfather's books, and then he's like, yeah, I'm gonna do it now. I'm gonna do it. So he makes a creature. It's a tap dance number. It's hilarious. If you're a fan of, the classic Universal horror movies, but you wish they were funny, this is it. That is the one for you to check out. It's shot in black and white, which I think is great. And actually, Mel Brooks had to fight several studios about it being shot in black and white. Like, none of them picked up the movie because they wanted it in color. And he's like, no, I have a vision. I have a vision. And finally somebody was like, I see your vision, my guy. So, thankfully. Same lines, another Mel Brooks movie, Dracula, Dead and Loving It. Now, despite being a Dracula girly to my very core, he is my favorite of the Universal monsters. Young Frankenstein, it's funnier. It's a better movie overall. But Dracula, Dead and Loving It is still funny. You still kind of get those same vibes. I love that they keep trying to give Renfield enemas. It's hilarious to me. So, yeah. And while we're on kind of the Universal theme, any Universal classic monster movie is going to fit the spooky, not scary. They're trying to be scary. It's just hard when the movie was shot in like the 30s or the 40s. They didn't quite have the technology to be as scary as movies are now. I don't classify any of these as family friendly, especially not Dracula, Dead and Loving It. You can get away with showing a kid Young Frankenstein. Again, it's just gonna go over their heads, I think. But if you try to show a small child any Universal movie, they're gonna be bored out of their skulls. So just don't do it. But in that same vein, another one of my absolute favorite movies, Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. Hilarious. A very funny movie, and if you love the whole, monster team-up kind of theme, this is it for you because you get Dracula, you get Frankenstein's monster, you get the Wolfman, and then at the very end, the Invisible Man shows up for like 2 seconds, and he's voiced by Vincent Price, so who doesn't love that? But basically, Abbott and Costello, they're up to their normal tricks of getting into shenanigans, and which one is it? Costello. He is dating this lady who's kind of shady, and she basically wants to put his brain in Frankenstein's monster. And Dracula is orchestrating that for some reason, and this was one of only 3 times that Bela Lugosi has played Dracula. So, pretty cool. Recommend checking it out. Could be child friendly. They might just be bored. Up next, do you think I'm going to have this Scream name Haley Adams and not talk about the Addams Family? Obviously, that is a must-watch, all year, but really during October, the Addams Family and the Addams Family Values, the sequel, both are hilarious. Both have some raunchy jokes in there, but they're well hidden. If you want to culture your child at an early age, make them watch this. If you want your child to grow up wanting to chop heads off of dolls, make them watch this, add some flavor. You might get some weird notes home from preschool, but it's fine. It's fine. It's good to be an individual. But basically, it follows the Addams Family and their shenanigans. The first one is about Fester returning from being lost in the Bermuda Triangle for years, and then the second one, again, centers around Fester. I don't really know why they decided that Uncle Fester was the star of these movies. I guess because Christopher Lloyd is a very big name. But, so is Angelica Houston. So, whatever. Whatever. They decided Fester's the star. In the second one, he bags himself a hot little lady who wants to kill him for his money. And they're great. I can't recommend them enough. Now, Addams Family adjacent, basically the other kooky family on the block, we have the Munsters. I'm talking about Rob Zombie's movie. Yeah, Rob Zombie made a list of family-friendly. What? No, shut up. I know a lot of people hate this movie. Why? Do you hate fun? I think it's great. That's coming from a Munsters fan. I know a lot of Munsters fans are like, shut up. I love it. I think it's great. It's a prequel, so you don't get a lot of the other characters. Like, there's no Eddie and there's no Marilyn, which I think people had beef with. But it's kind of showing you how Herman and Lily met, came to be, got the whole thing going, how they came to America from Transylvania. I like a good prequel, so I appreciate it, especially when it's centered on, like, the couple. I wish somebody would do that with the Addams Family. Would love to see a prequel of how Gomez and Morticia met. Rob Zombie, if you want to do that, I'm available. Just saying. But no, I definitely would check out this Munsters movie. It's actually, surprisingly, more family-friendly than the Addams Family movies are. No, Rob Zombie. There are, again, a few things. He can't help himself. He has to shove a few things in there. But overall, yeah, you could definitely sit the children down and have a fun time. The juice is loose. Yeah, did you think Beetlejuice wasn't going to be on this list? Obviously, Beetlejuice is on this list. Beetlejuice is great. It's a classic. It, goes right there on the must-watch, like next to Hocus Pocus and Nightmare Before Christmas. It is the quintessential Halloween movie. This movie is rated PG. Hilarious, because Beetlejuice says fuck. They were just doing anything in the 80s. So, show it to your children with caution. But basically the premise is these two ghosts, well, they die and then they become ghosts and they're stuck in their own house. And then Catherine O'Hara comes in and she's like, I'm going to gut this house. And then she's got like an emo stepdaughter who can see the ghosts. And she's like, I hate this house too. And they're all like, let's get them out of here. So they call Beetlejuice, who's going to come mess everything up. And it's a fun time. And we are very excited for the sequel that is coming out in September. Cannot contain my excitement. No, the dad's not in it because he's a pervert. Up next could maybe be classified as a Christmas movie, but I don't classify it that way. Gremlins! What I have running around in my walls constantly and throwing things off of my shelves, it's okay. But I absolutely love Gremlins. Like Gizmo. I have him somewhere. He's back there. He's just so freaking cute. Like, that's my takeaway from the movies. Gizmo is adorable. He was Baby Yoda before Baby Yoda was Baby Yoda. You know what I'm saying? But basically, this guy, he gets little Gizmo as a present, and he does one of the no-nos, which is gets him wet. Well, it was Corey Feldman's fault that he got wet, not the main guy. But he gets water on Gizmo, and he starts popping off little baby Gizmos, and then those ones are evil, though, and they start eating chicken after midnight, which makes them spawn into little hellions, basically, and then they go destroying the town. They go into a theater, they start watching Snow White, and they're all in the theater, I hope, and it's fun. Like, this is a very fun movie to watch. I don't think it's, like, gonna scar your child for life if you show it to them. I mean, some of the Gremlins, they do meet a very unfortunate fate with blenders and microwaves and such, so maybe that's a little jarring, but it builds character to scare your kids. There's also a sequel. It's not as good, but if you're bored, any Gizmo on the screen is a good time, basically. We're almost at the end here, so I'm just gonna fire some off at you. You got Halloween Town, and then all of the many sequels of that. Show your kids that. It's on Disney Plus. Go for it. Have a great time. Another thing on Disney Plus that I love, this is not sponsored by Disney Plus, just a lot of these movies are on there. Haunted Mansion, the Eddie Murphy one. I love it. People hate on that movie a lot. I think people hate on that movie because they're racist, to be honest, because I see no fault with it. It is a fun time. Jennifer Tilly's in it. Like, what more could you ask for? There was another one I wanted to fire off at you right now. Scooby-Doo. The live-action Scooby-Doo movies. Again, great movies. We love them. You're hard-pressed to find better live-action casting than the Scooby-Doo movies. Like, they nailed it for every single person, especially Scooby-Doo. That was a joke. But I just saw that these are on Tubi, so super duper exciting. Fun fact about the Scooby-Doo movies, they were originally supposed to be rated R. I am so mad that we never got that, because it would have been hilarious. And they even started actually shooting it like for the R rating, and then they kind of just went back and tweaked stuff. So like when you're looking at Velma's shirt, they have CGI'd more shirt onto her because she had a massive amount of cleavage. I mean, they did the lesbians dirty by taking away Velma's cleavage. We're wrapping up here. We are wrapping up. I promise this is going to be a long video. I apologize, but hopefully you've got a lot of things to watch now. Can you guys guess what I'm going to say last? Like, think about me, if you know me well. Elvira, duh. Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. It's in my top 4 on Letterboxd. Like, I don't care. People say it's a bad movie. I disagree. It is so fun. So the first movie, it follows Elvira. She's getting this inheritance from a great aunt she didn't even know she has. So she goes to this prude town where everybody's a big old prude, and she doesn't get the inheritance that she wants. So she's kind of stuck there trying to find a way to make money, and you know, chaos ensues, and it's just wonderful. It's great. Now there is another Elvira movie called Elvira's Haunted Hills. Honestly, I think the original one, it's a little better. It's funnier. But the second one definitely gives you that Hammer horror movie vibe, if that is something you are into. I'm not going to call this a sequel because it's not. The movies are not connected. The only returning character is Elvira. Everyone else is different setting. It's a different time period. So it's just another Elvira movie, not a sequel to the first one. But that one, she's kind of like on the road, and she ends up at this castle, and Riff Raff's there again. And he's this weird old dude, and just, weird stuff is going on there. Not family friendly. I don't know if somebody would look at Elvira and go, yeah, she's for children, because she's definitely not. Like, it's not horribly inappropriate, but have common sense, guys. So that does it for my spooky, not scary recommendations. Let me know what you guys think of this list. Did I miss one of your favorites? Is there one you want to recommend? Put it in the comments down below. And again, I highly recommend, going and following me over on Instagram, because I'm going to be asking a lot more, like, video idea questions, stuff like that. I want to do a lot in October, time permitting. I'm hoping to be booked and busy, but we'll see. If I'm not, I'm going to have a lot of stuff I want to do, so make your thoughts and opinions known about what you would like to see from me in the best month of the year. But that is it for now. Make sure you guys register to vote if you are U.S. citizens and over the age of 18. Very important. Please go do that. We don't want to live in a spooky country, do we? No. No, we don't. But that does it for me today. If you guys are also in a hurricane right now, I hope you stay safe, and I will be seeing you in your dreams tonight. Goodbye.